When I think mine inspector, I think Colin.
Oh, yeah.
I think Colin do a bang-up job, regulating the mines.
I agree.
I don't know anything about it, but I'm not sure that would be a hindrance.
I'm Arizona Family political editor Dennis Welch.
Dennis, fake news Welch. Try to tell the truth.
And this is the Politics Unplugged podcast.
Dennis, if you have a problem with substance abuse, I am more than willing to talk to you anytime you need.
And welcome back to another edition of the Politics Unplugged podcast. And today I'm joined again by Stacey Barchenger, wonderful reporter for the Arizona Republic, and, drum roll please, the Magic 8 Ball. We'll be making a few predictions, I would expect, regarding the budget and things that are happening at the legislature, which is why I wanted to bring you on here. Mm-hmm. It's been a couple of weeks since the governor launched her, launched the new session. And man, it's been a banger of a session so far. We're on a pace to break the number of bills filed. All sorts of fun stuff. We've already got our first veto.
I know.
So there's a lot to go over, and let's start with the big tax fight that's happening right now. Governor's got her plan. Republicans have their plan, which is a bigger tax cut than what the governor wants. And they've got a deadline of sorts because people are starting to file their taxes. And this is over tax conformity, which is usually a real snoozer of an issue. It's the kind of thing you and I in previous years probably wouldn't have covered.
Right.
It's just something that was
the
done.
good old days.
Oh, the good old days. God, I pine for 2021.
No, you don't.
Wait, no, that's COVID.
No one does.
Wait, 2019. Okay,
Yeah,
2019. There we go. I don't want. I pined for the pandemic. To be clear, I do not. But in the past, yeah, that's just a non-issue, but it's an issue now because everything's a damn issue. So what's happening with this fight? How's this going to end up?
Yeah, so sort of I think the point we're at now is Republicans have said what they want, the governor has said what she wants, and now it's a matter of them finding some common ground. And to your point, when that happens, right? Everybody has to file their taxes by April 15th. To be determined if there's some resolution before that. There's lots of talk at the Capitol about this is going to have to be done in the budget, which is in June, right? So obviously there's a timing problem there for people like us that need to file our taxes. And so lots of confusion about whether people should go ahead and file their taxes now, whether you should wait for the legislature and the governor to come to some agreement. I
would imagine there'll be a lot of extension filings from the great state of Arizona this year.
Yeah, I would think so, right.
Because when I also say there's kind of a makeshift deadline of really this month or early next month, because people are filing now. And we know the governor wanted to get this done as soon as possible. It sounds like that's not going to happen. I mean,
I'm not super optimistic about that because I don't know what breaks this sort of political standoff that they are having. You know, they are in their corners. They both being Republican leadership in the legislature and the governor think that their plan is better. Certainly, we've seen Republicans trying to make the governor, who is on the ballot this year, look bad for vetoing this kind of more robust policy that matches what President Trump enacted. But, you know, time is of the essence. That's the common thread that everybody is saying. So maybe that will be what forces the governor's office to pick up the phone to get down to the Capitol, or vice versa.
All right. Yeah, and so I think that might be the first opportunity to ask the 8 Ball.
Yes.
What's the question? What is the question we ask the 8 Ball? Like, we can't say when will this be done. It's like, will it be
done
before
March?
Yeah,
what do you think?
before the end of March. That's before the tax filing deadline federally.
Yeah.
So will it be done before the filing deadline?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. What does it say? Drum roll, please.
Oh, it's on the edge.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's new.
No, I'm not even kidding. It is on the edge. That's not a good sign.
But we're on the edge too because we're not exactly sure. Oh, this
Outlook not so good.
Oh. That 8 Ball is just old and cynical now.
The journalist.
The 8-ball is a glass kind of empty kind of 8-ball.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of evidence for that too. I think both sides. I think obviously the elections are going to color everything that's done at the legislature this year. Tell me what you think of this. I think if the Republicans would love to try to blame the governor for the confusion over taxes. And there might be something to that because she had went ahead and directed Department of Revenue for these forms that don't conform to anything that we know right now. So I think Republicans would like to blame her for that. I'm also not optimistic that we get done early this year because if you're a Republican, wouldn't you? Would there be maybe some thought like maybe we could blame her for the first state government shutdown in history? So I don't know. I don't know where their heads are at. What are you hearing?
Well, I think that's a good point. There's also the flip side of that, which is the longer she is. Obviously, the governor's campaign likes to talk about what she's gotten done, but the reality is a lot of people see her as the backstop against these bills that Republicans are sending up session after session after session that would. A lot of Democrats and moderate Republicans think take the state in a totally wrong direction. So while the ninth floor doesn't love to talk about all the vetoes, I do think that there is some political value in those. It's part of the reason she got elected in 2022, right? Pledging to be that backstop. So I think there is some advantage to her, too, to have a longer session where she gets to show voters what she stands against.
Yeah, it's funny, too. In a way, those numbers are almost, you almost say are kind of juked. Because how many times has she got to veto the same damn bill?
Yeah, right.
We see that year after year. Again, this year with there was some abortion bills.
Right.
I don't know if they were the same as previous years, but she's going to veto those, but they're going to send them up to her anyway. She's going to start padding that veto record,
right,
and whatnot. Now we do know that the governor wants some things from the state of the state. She wants to get rid of the tax incentives for data centers, which has really emerged as a real issue politically this year, not just here, but I think across the country. Maybe we can unpack that a little bit more. I mean, what's really the driving force behind this? Is it just mostly the utility bills that they're worried about those rising, or is there any other concerns?
Well, I mean, I think the governor's office has talked about it as a corporate handout. They want to end that. They're also, their message, I keep saying her message this year, it's a whole team up there on the ninth floor.
There's no I in team.
Yeah.
There's no.
But her message is really she actually said it in the state of the state, getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. And who else talks a lot about that. So this is
it's her MAGA light campaign,
Yeah. Certainly, that speech was just such a re-election year speech, right? Pretty safe, pretty light on shocking policy, and calling for reining in this corporate handout, the data center tax exemption, while also proposing some new fees on them for water use.
Yeah, and this is something a couple of years ago I wouldn't have thought would become a big issue, but it has become a big issue. And you can make the argument that you provided these tax incentives for these companies to get here to grow the industry. And now we're number one in the country when it comes to these data centers. You can say mission accomplished. Now start paying your fair share. And I think that's popular with a lot of voters.
Well, yeah, that's the argument that the governor's office is making. Of course, we saw some Republicans in the legislature who had questions about, if you've already approved someone for a tax incentive, are you going to try and claw that back halfway through the term? Or not claw it back, but, kind of change the terms halfway through. So I think a lot of questions about that, and no appetite that I have seen from Republicans in the legislature to get on board with the total sort of repeal that the ninth floor has proposed.
And so some other things she wants to, there were some new fees or taxes that she wants on sports books.
Yeah.
She wants a clean Prop 123 as well.
Yes.
Is there a world where Republicans just give her the stuff on the data centers, on Prop 123, on sports books? In return, they get all the tax cuts they want.
Can we ask the 8-ball? No.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Yes, please.
I think that remains to be seen. I thought it was really interesting in the Joint Appropriations Committee. Ben Henderson, he's the governor's new budget director. His first year at the helm of this very complicated task, right? And he said multiple times in that committee that, like, this is the governor's starting point. And of course, that's always true, but I found it really notable that he was just explicitly saying, this is where we want to start negotiations. You know, obviously the governor is not going to get everything that she wants from her state of the state, but maybe some steps in those directions. So maybe we see, like, you know, repeal of the tax exemption for data centers, but only going forward, not for existing, you know, something like that.
And also, too, was interesting from the state of the state, which is basically the vision, the agenda, was what was not in there.
Yeah.
I think you wrote a story, or your colleagues wrote a story about that, and one of the big ones was, there wasn't a lot of talk about abortion rights in there.
Yeah.
There was, and a little bit of red meat, I think, on the school voucher program, which, remember, she had campaigned on in the first 3 years. She had vowed to eliminate or put serious guardrails on. You didn't hear much of that.
Yeah. So she mentioned she wants to put caps on ESAs. We now know that would be phasing it out to families that make over $250,000 a year. But also missing, and, you know, I went back and read her first 3 State of the States to get ready for the 4th.
Oh, boy.
So much fun. But it is really interesting. In the prior 3, abortion and passing, like, the Right to Contraceptives Act have played a more prominent role. And this year it was a line about protecting freedoms, including to determine what your family looks like and when, something along those lines. This is why I say it's very much a re-election year speech, in that she's got the red meat for her base in there, the ESAs, the abortion rights, but is really talking more broadly about securing the border and getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. This very moderate approach and pitch in her 4th year.
I mean, you can say moderate. You know, I would go farther. I've called it MAGA light. I stand by that. She's calling her campaign Arizona First. Somebody else had branded their campaign Arizona First. Who was that? Oh, yeah, that's right. Her first opponent.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the campaign. We're starting to see some, we just saw some finance numbers. Governor is just outpacing everybody at this time. No surprise here. She's an incumbent governor. And again, incumbent governors, it's one of the hardest tasks to do in politics is to unelect an incumbent governor.
Right.
Where does things stand right now with the race?
I mean, look, we're headed into the election year finally, although you and I have been talking about this for 3 years now. I think we're going to start seeing more attention on it. Obviously, lots of focus on the Republican primary and the 3 candidates there. Who's going to pull ahead as more and more people start paying attention to this? We've seen, some of our first opposition research of the cycle that I know we're going to talk about a little bit. But the governor is in a really strong financial position. And to your point, though, she also needs to be, she is an incumbent. If tradition holds, it's going to be a good year for Democrats. But I think it's going to be a tough race.
Yeah, and I think, too, first and foremost, we're all going to be focusing on the Republican primary.
Yeah.
There's not been a lot of polling. What polling I do see, I don't trust. But it seems to be a consensus right now that Andy Biggs is kind of in the driver's seat of this. And if you look at the betting markets, if you want to trust the betting markets, and there's not a lot of money that's been put down on the betting markets, but I saw one, was it Kalshi or Polymarket or whatever that other one is. I think one of them had Biggs at like 81% chance of winning, and Schweikert second, like with 9%, and Karen Taylor Robeson third with 8%.
Oh, interesting.
So that's it. We are starting to see some negative campaigning early. I know political reporters were getting unsolicited text messages recently talking about Andy Biggs' voting record when he was in the legislature. What do you know about that?
The Biggs files.
The Biggs files. Yeah. Oh man, that sounds so scandalous.
Okay, yeah. So a trio of, at least I got 3 text messages about his votes on bills that, to lump them all together, basically would have required more reporting for like convicted sex offenders in the state, and or toughened penalties for child prostitution. The votes were from 2004 to 2007 when he was in the state House of Representatives. And I mean, they're accurate. He did vote against these things. Of course, his campaign says he's got a more recent track record of, defending kids and protecting kids. But I think it's pretty significant. I mean, obviously someone thinks that, he is the front runner and is trying to change that. And no one is taking credit for these messages.
That's the other thing that's really funny. I'm trying to figure out like who's behind this, and you hear whispers. Like, I think maybe you should call this person.
Yeah,
and and I feel like between you, me, and everybody else, we've probably talked to the guilty parties that are running this. But to me, it seemed like someone was chumming the waters out there, hoping that one of us or somebody would pick this up and run with it. If that's not going to work, I mean, at some point you're going to start seeing some real ads hit either mailboxes, TV, online stuff.
Yeah, which is really interesting because, he has been a public figure for so long. He has so many votes that we are going to be looking at as we cover this campaign, but that also are going to end up on mailers, right? Whether it's the governor in a general election or his primary opponents. Like, I think people are going to be bombarded by asking, remember in 2004 when this happened?
Yeah. I've already asked him a couple of those questions. And the thing is, to be fair, I'm old enough to have been around when he was, a lowly, House representative. And he's East Valley Republican with a strong libertarian streak. And he would vote against stuff very often because he was a libertarian and didn't think there would be, didn't need new laws or rules and regulations and stuff like that. That comported with his libertarian take, but that is going to come back apparently now, and it's going to cause him some problems. And the other thing too is like he was Senate president, and if you're Senate president, you own it all.
Yeah, right.
And he's going to take a lot from that too, right?
Well, yeah, and also was Senate president when Governor Brewer had to fight to expand Medicaid, and he was on the other side of that, right? And so especially depending on how things go in Congress, if we see hundreds of thousands of Arizonans kicked off of Medicaid, think of the mailers, right? It's going to be all Andy Biggs' fault. And
a lot of this stuff, maybe not so much the Medicaid stuff, but like the other stuff is going to play in this Republican primary. And if you're Governor Hobbs and her people, you're going to be like, do it, like just blow each other up.
They
please.
love to see it. Yeah, exactly. They've already messaged on that. Just yesterday I got a press release that says, look at them all fighting with each other on, this was about abortion, and who thinks it's worse. Like,
what are the governor's biggest vulnerabilities? What are you hearing from that side?
Yeah. I don't know that she is well defined what she wants and what her vision for the state of Arizona is. What are her major accomplishments of the first 3 years? I wrote that in a story and got some pushback to include someone pointed to Prop 479, the ballot referral to vote on the transportation tax extension in Maricopa County. But that's not something that we heard in a state of the state. That's not something that she really came into office for. So I'm not saying she hasn't accomplished things, but I think it's a question of like, what does she take to voters? Beyond I'm going to be this backstop, or, what does this state look like if Andy Biggs is elected?
So on the Republican side in the primary, we got three major contenders. We got Biggs, obviously, Karen Taylor Robson, and David Schweikert. Do you think all three of them make it to the primary, or do you think one of them drops out?
8-ball.
8-ball time.
Certainly there's like rumors about that, right?
Yeah,
it's just going to get...
one of them drop out.
Concentrate and ask again.
Oh, no.
That's the meanest one, 8-ball.
Concentrate and ask again.
It is certain, it says. That's better.
Okay. So the 8-ball...
So who do you think it's going to be?
Ooh, who would it be? I don't know.
I don't want to get myself in trouble and answer that question.
I've already gotten myself in a lot of trouble. I would say that maybe if there's somebody who has spent a whole lot of money on this race already, and their numbers aren't moving, It might be that person.
Like millions, you're thinking?
I'm thinking maybe millions.
Okay.
I'm thinking it might be that person. Take a hard look in the mirror and ask yourself, what's the ROI on this?
Yes.
Because I think the other person, we're talking to who's in Congress right now.
This is actually a guessing game of who we're talking about.
It's not so much of a guessing game. Karen Taylor Robeson's the one who's already spent millions of dollars. Right. And Schweikert is in Congress. For him, I've always thought this is maybe just kind of at worst, a swan song for him. Because he's always maybe thought about being governor. I think he's tired of D.C. for a number of reasons. So why not just, take a shot? And again, he would be going through how many cycles in a row of a really tough reelect, and he might be more vulnerable this year than any other years. So why not just stick it out and see what happens? But I don't feel a lot of Schweikert momentum, but it's still, we're not even into February yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough time to take that shot, right? Like you have Biggs already in, Karen Taylor Robeson already in. They kind of, in my mind, represent different wings of the Republican Party, and Schweikert maybe fits a little more in Karen's. If she doesn't leave the race, very likely she's going to drop many more millions of dollars, right? Yeah. So she also, she did run statewide in 2022, so I think could use that to her advantage, right? Maybe voters know her better versus Schweikert just in his district. But it's, not even February, as you say.
Yeah, so. I just, at some point, I just wonder what Schweikert and Karen Taylor Robeson's path to victory is, what their lane is. I just don't know. Because, Karen ran a very different campaign 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Are voters going to trust that she says she is who she says she is now? That's a real question with Republican voters, and they're very and those primary voters, as you know, are very engaged voters. On this stuff.
Yeah, I think I see that as her biggest hurdle is proving to Republican voters that she is who she says she is. When you have Andy Biggs as the competitor, and everybody knows Andy Biggs is Andy Biggs.
It's when Andy Biggs. His problem is in the general, if he tries to moderate, people will be like, really?
Right.
Can we trust you on that one?
Right, exactly.
That's a big question there. So let's wrap up with this 8-ball question. Will Governor Hobbs win a second term, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yes, definitely.
Ooh.
Look at it to make sure that's what it says, so I'm not solely responsible for this.
Yes. It says that. So the 8-ball, if we're counting, says there will be no there will be no deal on the taxes until after the deadline. That one of the 3 Republican primary challengers will drop out before the primary, and Governor Hobbs will win re-election.
Yep.
All right, we got that, Colin. We're going to have to come back and fact check all this.
I've taken notes. Yes.
See you all in late November.
Well, thanks for stopping by here.
Thank you.
Before you go, you got any plans, any fun things coming up? Because I'm bored these days, and I'm always
looking. Not.
I'm always bored. I'm like, is there any good movies on Netflix you can recommend, or what?
Oh no, it's outside season, so it's
okay.
TV season will come back in May and June.
Okay.
Man,
okay.
It's go for a hike season.
Oh, you're much more adventurous than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I'm always looking for a good TV show or a movie to watch, and I'm just kind of run out right now.
Oh. Too bad.
I know, it's sad, but
I actually just watched Ted Lasso, obviously years late. So this is, if you want to talk to me about mountains, I'm ready. But TV shows, not. But Ted Lasso.
That helped everybody get through the pandemic. That Ted Lasso.
Yeah, that's the same one.
Speaking of the pandemic.
To bring it back to 2020.
I know, right. Well, as always, thank you so much for stopping by here. Really appreciate your outlook and your take on these kinds of things, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the second half of the Politics Unplugged podcast. As always, joined by the producer extraordinaire, Colin Stanton. How the hell are you, man?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Good. How you doing?
Another great week, huh?
Yeah.
Real banger of a week.
Yeah.
Went into the week thinking, Could this be the week we finally invade Greenland and get that monkey off our back?
Yeah. Yeah. Alas, no, we have an agreement, a mysterious agreement in place that so far sounds like it's probably pretty close to the agreement from 1951.
That's the Eisenhower administration, old Ike.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm assuming, and there's a lot of assumptions that it's going to be that because he's going to say we're getting stuff. But most of the stuff he has already outlined that he wanted, I mean, Denmark, the Greenlandish people have already been signaled they're very willing to work and give the U.S. whatever they want.
Yeah.
I would imagine maybe there's a couple tweaks here or there, and then the administration does what other administrations do is they sell it like the Magna Carta.
Yeah. Yeah. When in fact, it's,
When
it was negotiated
it's
by
the status
Eisenhower.
quo.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the absurdity of the whole thing is just mind-boggling.
Yeah,
all the reasons why he has said we need Greenland, we already had. We didn't need any of them.
No, and
but it was a chance to attack NATO and crap on our allies. And
did you see
try
his?
and
Did you see his board of
everything.
peace?
Yeah.
Do you hear that knocking?
Yes. There's some sort of pounding outside.
All right.
Someone must be wearing very large boots.
But I think the Greenland thing, hopefully we're done with this, at least for this year. But I think there's going to be long-lasting consequences with that. I mean, the rhetoric some of the people were using for other leaders of other nations, including the leader of Canada, was just stuff I never thought. I mean, there were reports that Canada was doing or getting ready to war game the potential of the United States invading their country. I mean, this could have long-term ramifications.
It absolutely will. I mean, when your stupid uncle gets drunk and sets your house on fire, like he may go to AA in a couple of years and get cleaned up, but you're still not inviting him over for Thanksgiving again.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is like this with the second term, the Trump administration with this is like, this is, European countries see us, this is what America is.
Yeah.
Whether you agree with the president, like the president or don't like the president, that's what the rest of the world sees us as.
Yes.
And a lot of our traditional allies don't like what Donald Trump has been doing.
No, we're consistently doing things that work against our allies and bad-mouthing our allies while praising our enemies and doing things to benefit our enemies.
Yeah. And I think it also, too, one of the things you really learned from this past week is that one of the only real guardrails on this presidency are the markets.
Yeah.
He responds to markets.
Yeah.
He responds to markets more than Democrats in the Congress, more than any of that other kinds of stuff. He will listen to the markets, and the markets were tanking.
Yes.
At the beginning of the week, at the prospect of taking Greenland by force.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were down, 800?
Yeah.
And then he said, no, we're not going to take it by force. And then they were back up 700.
Yeah. And did you catch any of that speech he gave on Davos? Is it Davos or Davos?
I think it's Davos. I'm not sure. No, I've read bits of it. I avoided watching it.
Yeah, it was a very Trump-esque speech.
Yeah,
very rambling, or as he would say, weaving.
Yeah, yeah, weaving and perfect. Yeah,
weaving and perfect. Also on the TV show, and this week we did a story on the vast number of bills being introduced at our state legislature.
Yeah.
The take that I got, and from talking to people, and being interested in your take, it's, politics always plays a part in the legislature. Election, and particularly election years, always colors and frames what happens at the legislature. But this year, a whole lot more so. That maybe lawmakers are more interested in their own political fortunes than setting up this, than trying to fix the state. What was your take about this? Because again, we're already at over 1,300 pieces of legislation that have been filed, and that doesn't count the memorials and resolutions that have already been introduced.
I just, it just feels like at some point it would be nice if the legislature would focus on doing things that would better the state and need to be done. Regardless of what you think would better the state. They are focusing on things that they know will never happen, they know will never pass, just for the theater of it. They'll keep sending stuff to the governor that they know she's going to veto because they want her to veto it, so they can say they vetoed it. I mean, that's time that could be spent working on a budget, trying to fix education, debating 1, 2, 3, all of that. And so they're gonna try and send a thing to voters, so voters will decide if we're going to eliminate early voting.
Do you know how popular early voting is?
Yeah, it's what, over 80% of people do early voting. They know where that's going to go. Can you stop with this? Can you?
Yeah, well, like again, with all the stuff that they're debating again, because I only half joked that the governor's veto numbers are kind of juked because she's repeatedly vetoed some of the same legislation year over year.
Yeah, it's like the juiced ball era.
Yeah, right.
If you get to veto the same abortion bill 17 times because they'll send it to you every Tuesday.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, they had another bill this week, this past week, where they're debating an abortion-related type bill. And it's like, where this is going. Why waste time? And the thing is we had people talking about this in the story I did. There is time and money spent on this stuff. Every bill down there has to go through a process. Yeah. Whether it gets heard or not, it has to go through, the very least, legislative council.
Yeah. And
that's going to be reviewed and blah, blah, blah. That's time, and time is money.
Yeah.
Anywhere, including and especially the legislature.
Yes.
And to me, I've never seen this. It's like, we're almost there where I've never seen a House bill start with the number 3, and we're about ready to move to 3,000. House Bill 3021.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. Now, for the general public, I know that doesn't mean anything, but that tells you like how many damn bills they're filing down there.
And some of this stuff, like regardless of how you feel about abortion, that went to a public vote, and the answer was fairly resounding. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to keep throwing those things at the governor for her to veto them, you do it with the understanding that you are absolutely working against the public sentiment on this.
Yeah.
No matter what your loudest or richest constituents might be pushing you to do, at this point you're essentially wasting time because it's going to get vetoed. And the people of Arizona have already said, stop with this. Mm-hmm. This is how we feel.
Yeah, and, it's just... In my entire career covering the legislature, it's been a Republican-controlled legislature.
Yeah.
And this isn't like me, taking some biased, hacky political stance here. These are just facts.
Yeah.
They have controlled the legislature all these years. And the Republicans who control the legislature have always, year after year, have always been the party about less government, less regulation. But here we are with all these pieces of legislation.
Yeah.
Hundreds of pieces of, do you need, only 15% of these actually that get filed end up. By the way, like 90% of the Democrat bills never get a hearing. Yeah. And then in total, only about 15% end up becoming law. Why not just work a little more constructively, again, to identify things you all can work on instead of things you're going to fight over?
Yeah. And, particularly these days, most of this isn't done to improve the state or to get anything done. It's mostly done to get likes on social media, I think, and to get people you want to have happy be happy without actually accomplishing anything.
Fun times down there, guys.
Yeah.
Fun times down there.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something else. We were talking in the newsroom earlier in the week, talking about some of the thing that started this was the latest baseball Hall of Fame class.
Yeah.
Woo, this is a garbage class, isn't it?
It really is.
It really is garbage.
It's just voted in Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Jones.
Andrew.
The U in Andrew always throws me off. And then I think Jeff Kent is also in through some other route. Is he not? I don't know. The ones who just got voted in are Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
That's a weak class. That is a weak class.
And Andrew Jones is a very, very good player.
Yes, there is an argument to be made for him. That argument is entirely the first half of his career because he fell off the face of the earth midway through.
Yeah, and that's when he was with the Brave.
Yeah, his early times with the Braves. Toward the end with the Braves, he was falling. He signed a 2-year. It was like a 2-year, $36 million deal, which was outrageous at the time, and now that's like utility infielder.
Oh yeah.
Money.
Oh yeah.
And was hot garbage for the
Second
Dodgers, and then I believe his batting average over like his last 5 seasons was .214.
Ooh, barely above the Mendoza line.
Yes. And again, he was terrific before that. He was terrific for the first 7-8 years of his career.
Mm-hmm.
But that last half sure did drag the whole thing down.
Yeah. So like a very nice player for the first half of his career, but this is the Hall of Fame. This is where great goes.
Yes.
Not really good.
Yes. And while I'm dragging him for his offensive numbers, it should be pointed out he was a terrific outfielder.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Great defensive
and
player.
that is half the game. Yeah.
Yes. But when it's a class of 2 and that's one of the 2, and the other one is Carlos Beltran.
Yeah, and either you're against cheating or you don't care. And Carlos Beltran didn't play just a slight role in the Astros scandal in 2017?
Yes. That's when the report came out, I think. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It was spread over a few years. That's when they really got him, I think it was 2017.
Well, he wasn't a minor character in that cheating scandal, was he?
When baseball put out the report on the scandal, he was the only player named in it.
100%.
Yeah. So, and for those who may not remember the scandal, you're not allowed to spy on other teams with electronic means, and you're not really supposed to steal signs, but it's sort of a gamesmanship,
Well,
you don't do it, but if you get away with it, wink, wink, clever you.
Well, yeah.
But the way they were doing it,
yeah.
they were stealing signs by having a camera posted in the stands in center field, and then relaying what they could see from the catcher's signs.
Mm-hmm.
And they were relaying it. They're specifically not allowed to relay things by electronic means. So instead, they were beating on a trash can. And if it was a fastball, they'd hit it once. And so,
and wasn't Carlos Beltran the one to hit a home run? And when he was crossing home plate, they all wanted to hug him, and he was like, "Don't hug me," and started holding his shirt because he didn't want people to see what was underneath his shirt.
I don't remember. I remember the incident, yes, and it looked very much like they were trying to protect something under the shirt. I don't remember if it was Beltran or not.
Yeah,
but yeah,
because this leads to the discussion. I mean, this is hacky, sports talk radio stuff. But if you're going to let Beltran in, and Barry Bonds should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Bonds is out because he was a cheater.
Yeah,
Mark McGwire's out because he's a cheater, and his case isn't actually as strong as one might think based on the hype, but he's not in because he's a cheater. Roger Clemens is not in because he's a cheater. Carlos Beltran, a cheater, is in. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, and it's the hall of very good, not great now, but it also seems like it turns into the hall of well-liked. Because, the other thing that really hurts people like Bonds is Bonds was a Class A asshole.
Yes.
By all accounts.
Everyone hated his guts.
Yeah.
Teammates hated his guts. Everyone he encountered hated Barry Bonds. And he hated everyone.
Yeah.
He was a wildly unpopular figure and unpleasant person to be around.
Yes. I mean, there was that sports journalist, Perlman?
Jeff Perlman.
Jeff Perlman's he had a really crazy story about going back and going back to Pittsburgh. He was doing a story on Bonds, and he went back to Pittsburgh, and some lowly staff member in Pittsburgh just I never want to see that guy again.
Yeah,
because he left that kind of impression. It seemed like with everywhere he went.
Yeah,
I mean, it started here at ASU when he played baseball here, where apparently most of the team members had voted him off the team.
Yeah.
Because he was creating so many problems. The coach at the time, I forget his legendary baseball coach for ASU, said, well, if you want him off the team, you go ahead and you guys take a vote, and we'll go with whatever you want. Yeah. And like all but like a couple of them said, like, let's get rid of him. And then they told the coach, the manager, what the vote was, and he says, well, it had to be unanimous. We're keeping Barry Bonds. But like, you know, he left that kind of impression on folks. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
From what I saw on TV for a stretch, there was like the greatest, 5-6 years I've ever seen of maybe sports.
Yeah. No, he is arguably the greatest player in all. I would put Ohtani ahead of him now, probably. But
yes,
he had a very strong case for being the greatest baseball player of all time, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
And Ohtani's amazing, but he hasn't had that stretch like Barry yet.
He has fewer of the absolutely hilarious home runs.
Mm-hmm.
He's not putting as many out on the street outside the park.
Well,
as Bonds would, and Bonds would have games where he'd get one pitch.
Well, that's the thing that I was going to bring up.
Yeah,
I mean, they would. This is a guy that was walked with bases loaded.
Yeah. Yes. And if you put one pitch anywhere near the strike zone, it was going in the seats.
Yeah, he would maybe see a pitch a game, and he was would lead the league in walks. So it showed he had patience and a good eye. He just wasn't swinging for the fence. But if you threw that ball in there, it was gone. It was like the most amazing thing. And I, again, couldn't stand Barry Bonds from what I read. He never played on a team I was particularly a fan of.
Yeah.
Rooted against him. But, like, that guy should be in the Hall of Fame if Beltran is in the Hall of Fame. And a lot of those other guys should be in there, too.
And the other thing is he's not there because of the steroids.
Yeah.
And, okay, we know he was on steroids. There's not a whole lot of question he was on steroids.
Yeah.
But he's grouped in with Clemens. And Sosa and McGuire still aren't in.
Yeah,
I don't believe.
I mean, Sosa, regardless of what, and look, it's regardless what you think of these guys.
And I will keep the argument to Bonds and Clemens because they're the two where absolutely unquestionably, like I said, McGuire has some flaws in the game. Sosa, I'm not going to take a great stand either way.
He has Sosa has that effect on people.
Yeah. But Bonds and Clemens are absolutely unquestionably, based on talent, guys who belong in the Hall of Fame, and they're not there. And the other guys who are all, I don't know that they're all that popular with writers either. They're not in. Mike Piazza's in.
And here's the thing, though. It's like you want to penalize these guys, because you say they cheated. They were using performance-enhancing drugs. If everything I remember from that era, it really seemed like baseball knew about this and just kept looking the other way.
Yeah, they didn't care.
They didn't care.
They were getting all kinds of viewership because of the Maguire Sosa home run chase. Then Bonds had his own, the career home run total.
Mm-hmm.
They benefited greatly from all of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was technically against the rules, I believe, but no one cared.
Yeah, no one cared. Well, as far as I know, MLB didn't just turn away from the Astros scandal. They put out a fucking report.
Yeah. Yeah. And they gave all the players immunity.
Yeah. That scandal was so bad. Like, I really still think to this day, I think that owner should have lost his franchise.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, two things I believe that are that bad in all of sports is what happened there with that cheating scandal in Penn State, but that's another discussion. That was a really bad scandal, and that everybody knew about in that organization. And again, baseball wasn't looking away on that one.
No.
And that was real old school cheating. But like these guys, like Sosa, McGuire, Bonds, they saved baseball because baseball again was struggling after the '94 strike.
Yeah. And one other thing, just on the whole, the guys who were roided up, we know there were a ton of guys in that era who were roided up, but there are some of them are going into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
and we don't know who was and who wasn't. And every once in a while, you get these guys who we say, well, at least we know they weren't.
Do you?
How the hell do we know? Look at the names of the guys who got suspended. throughout, more recently than that. And half the time, they're like 170-pound Dominican dudes playing shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at McGuire, and he looks like the Incredible Hulk.
He got ridiculous.
Yeah, it got ridiculous. You look at him and you go, that is a walking ball of steroids.
Yeah, because he was big when he got into Major League, got to the show. He just, by the time he was in St. Louis, he was just enormous.
Yeah, it was inflatable at that point. It was absurd. But that's not the case with all of these guys. A ton of them were kind of wiry, smaller dudes who you would never guess, but they got caught. And so you have these other star players of the era who, and the example I go to, and I'm not accusing him of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Griffey Jr., I've heard repeatedly, we know he didn't. And I think the evidence that we know he didn't was he had a nice smile and he sometimes had his hat on backwards.
Yeah.
And because he loved the game. And
And
again, not accusing him of anything. There's no evidence he did. But you look at some of his injuries over the years, because he was always injured, and these were like steroid guys' injuries. Like he was running for a ball in center field, and the muscle ripped off the bone.
Common, right?
And that's a steroid guy injury. Again, not suggesting it, because it certainly could happen without steroids, but it makes me look at it and go, how the hell do we know these guys are, but these other guys aren't, in an era when it was considered pretty much endemic to the sport?
Well, and my favorite player as an adult was Albert Pujols. And again, not accusing him of anything, but he's another one of those guys. Well, like, we know he did it clean. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
know that. The big old dude.
Big old, because like to me, baseball in the '90s, late '90s, in 2000 and early 2000s, I just figured like they're all roided up, roided up hitters facing roided up pitchers.
I will say this as an Angels fan: if Pujols was on the roids, I know when he stopped, because
he didn't do well. He didn't put up the fight.
No, legend at the bank, but. Was not a
legend
great contributing
at the bank. But like it also led to kind of quickly, like overall, like do we need Hall of Fames anymore? Because they're all just like Hall of kind of goods. They're kind of okays, maybe better than the Hall of better than average.
And the one weird exception to that, I think, is the Football Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, and it's just
because that thing's incredibly hard to get into.
Yeah,
the standard is really high.
And football is just it always separates itself from every other. Sport
and there are guys who are in there that I think are mediocre.
Sure.
And there are guys who have been referred to as future Hall of Famers for years who aren't that good. They're not. The killer for that is Jason Witten of the Cowboys, tight end.
Mm-hmm.
For like half of his career, every announcer referred to him strictly as future Hall of Famer Jason Witten. And you look at his numbers and he was mostly in the top half of the tight ends when he was playing.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
No, it's incredibly hard too.
And they have a big backlog of guys. Like getting in as a receiver is nuts, because there's just this line of dudes in front of you. Where, you have to be insanely talented to make a dent there in that Hall of Fame. Whereas, Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran are going in baseball, and like basketball it's not hard. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Some of the acts that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's like,
and I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've probably said this before. I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame gets kind of a bad rap because I think the people who are in generally deserve to be in. And when we list snubs, I don't think there are too many egregious snubs from it. I think they've done a reasonable job. And I think people just like to complain. Like I've probably brought up the Steve Hoffman forums. It's like the big online message board for music fans. It's sort of the central. And there's a thread that was there a week ago that went for several pages, expressing outrage that the Beau Brummels are not in the Hall of Fame. And people want it to be the Hall of. Hey, I remember those guys.
Yeah, isn't Dolly Parton in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I forget if she might be. There was discussion of it. I don't remember if she went in. I think she did.
I think she did. And to me, it was like, I'm fine with Dolly Parton, but she doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
They have intentionally painted a pretty wide
but like
picture there.
But to me, it was like when that happens, like, oh, so what? Metallica gets to go in the country Hall of Fame because I mean they wear cowboy boots now. I mean, I don't know. Or Social Distortion because Mike Ness wants.
They get kind of twangy.
He's got a Johnny Cash obsession.
Yeah. Be okay with it. Yeah, I mean, one of the standard gripes every year when they put out the list is people look at it and go, "That's not rock and roll," which is mostly a "he's not white" complaint. 99% of the time. But I mean, they've put country people in. They've got jazz musicians in. It goes with it. It's a pretty wide definition of rock and roll.
And maybe we're making too much of this because at the end of the day, these are all just tourist attractions.
Yes, they're museums.
They're museums for things, but I mean that said, it's still like they're supposed to be it's the Hall of Fame, which is the Hall of Great.
Yeah,
and look, Beltran, Jones, good players, really nice players. Well, players. The cheating aside with Beltran, really nice players, but like not great players. And then Beltran's a cheater on top.
Yeah, and for a place that's been as sanctimonious as the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh, baseball in general. Yes. There's sanctimonious crap out there.
Yeah.
Like, I just leave me alone with that. I think we've discussed that over and over, maybe on the show. Like their fidelity to the record book.
Yeah,
it's like with their asterisks and stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah, you do know, like for 100 and some odd years, baseball didn't let black players play.
Yeah. It did kind of skew things a bit.
Yeah, it kind of skews stuff, don't you think? That maybe those players weren't facing the best baseball players in the world.
Yeah.
Because a good segment of the population wasn't even allowed to play.
Here's a tangential thing, too. The hatred for Rob Manfred, the commissioner. And we sort of do this, and the NBA is the only one who really seems to escape this. Adam Silver, people are generally cool with. I think,
except like references to Nosferatu.
Yes, there are fan bases that seem to have some kind of beef with him now and then, but by and large, people like him. People boo Gary Bettman, the NHL commissioner, mostly because of like a lockout for 20 or 30 years ago, and people boo Roger Goodell for whatever reason. I don't.
Because why not? We're bored.
Yeah.
Boo.
Rob Manfred is. People hate Rob Manfred. They are disgusted he's the commissioner. He's been such a disaster. And I look around at baseball and I think,
the pitching clock has been amazing.
That's the best innovation in years. I had pretty much stopped watching baseball, and now I kind of watch it. I would watch it more if the games were on TV.
Yeah, well, that's one problem. In like the game has picked up because baseball had an action problem because it wasn't just it was long. It's like nothing happened. Yeah. Now something's always happening. Every 10 seconds or whatever the pitch clock is, you got to throw a pitch.
Yeah.
And they took away the shift.
Yeah.
Now people are able to get more hits and there's more people on base, so things are happening.
Yeah.
Credit Rob Manfred on that one. I'm not one to cheer the man, but there we go.
But the level of hatred when I look at him and think I'll watch a hell of a lot more baseball now than I would before his time because the game has improved.
Oh, but you can't touch baseball because of our precious records and our history. Jesus.
And even the gimmicky stuff, like extra innings, the guy on second.
Yeah.
It's sort of gimmicky, but I don't want to sit there for 14 innings. They don't do it in the postseason, and that's cool.
That's the one thing with like football. It's like, all right, overtime. And baseball, if you're live, if you're out at a game, you're like, damn it, extra innings.
Can we wrap this thing up? Like, let's not do this. So I'm fine with that too.
Nobody wants a 14-inning game.
No, when I was a kid, literally 2 of the first games I went to in my life went 14 innings.
I mean, I actually think it should just you get 1 or 2 more innings and call it a tie. I don't think I think most of your games you're not going to get many ties.
No,
you'll get some ties, but I think you can just live with it. If soccer can live with ties, which they do, I think with that game, it's 162 goddamn games every year.
Yeah, you can throw in some ties. I don't care.
Yeah, nobody's going to get that worked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're to the point where the second baseman's pitching, just end the game.
Oh, you don't like that? You don't like
No,
the
it's
second
fun, but that's stupid.
Oh, but yeah,
It's
but
when you hit inning 13
Yeah.
and they, the utility infielders coming out and throwing junk.
yeah.
Like, this game has outlived its usefulness. Let's come back tomorrow.
It no longer amuses me.
Yes.
Or like, this is a really long wind up to a pretty average joke.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
kind of humorous. I can enjoy this in the highlights, actually.
Yeah. That's enough. Yeah.
So I think we overwent our time.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. All right. Should be wrapping up though.
Yeah.
We got a lot of stuff to do. We're going to be doing social media. If you've listened this far, you're probably interested in the fact that we're going to start doing some more social media stuff
Yeah, we created an Instagram page
that we have not
that we have
used.
literally not done anything with. We created it. I have not posted a single thing on it. And the last time I looked, like a week or two ago, it had over 100 followers already. So, oh, well, shit, maybe we should use this. This might be an effective tool.
Might be an effective tool.
So hopefully by the time you hear this, there'll be something on the page.
Yeah, so go check it out. And if you're still listening, you're probably interested in that. And like,
I think it's AZ Politics Unplugged. I think it's on Instagram. I think it's at AZ Politics Unplugged.
there we go.
I think.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, man. Have a great weekend. You got
Thanks.
anything going
You
on
too.
this weekend?
Nah, quiet. You?
Yeah. Like I said, I was asking Stacey if she had any recommendations for shows or anything like that. That's how boring my life is.
Yeah.
No, hang out with the dog, Joan.
Good.
Maybe have a couple of beers.
Sounds
And maybe next week I'll bore everybody with the story about what happened to my car.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to that.
Have to end it right now. Okay, see ya.
Yeah. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks for listening. You can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, the Google Store, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. See you next time.